All right, our students, welcome back to the drawing table. And this video is a request video by Stephen Bell. He asked me to show how to draw capes properly around the neck. So I will do request videos, but I only do them if it benefits the whole class, shall we say. I won't draw like a flower or something like that because one person wants to learn how to draw a flower or how to draw the Batmobile. But I mean, if it benefits and everybody can learn off of it, then I'll do it. And I think this is a really good request because a lot of people, when you're doing characters, you do capes. A lot of people love capes. And I asked Alexa, I'm just letting it shut off before I say something else. What was a cape? And one of the things that was said during the whole long ramble was capes are usually worn as a symbol of power, as seen by the kings and queens of old times. So that was that's a good thing for us to to understand. A cape is not just something that flaps in the wind; it's a symbol of power. So maybe that would help you to do your character, with a little more pride, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. So a cape around the neck. There are different ways that heroes wear capes around the neck. Now I'm going to insert some some pictures. Sorry, my throat. I don't know what's up with my throat. I'm going to insert some pictures here where you can see the way that a lot of creative design, like Batman, Superman, Thor, how they design and put their capes on, and then we'll go from there. All right, first up, we have this Batman drawing, and if you look to the center of his neck, you see that his cowl and his cape are just one piece together. And anytime you have a cape like that, it's going to drop down the center, like on the right side. So we'll talk about that more in the drawing. And then on the left side, you're going to have to fold it over. That's just how that's going to have to work when you do a one piece cape that sits in the middle. All right, and this one, it's the same thing. You just see how it looks when he's jumping. All right, with Omni-Man, it looks like right at his collarbone, the cape is part of his suit. It would be sewn in at his collarbone. With Superman, it looks like the same thing, except they have it tucked down. But I think on the show, they have like a piece of metal that they sew the cape is onto, and then it comes from that piece of metal. That it's the difference between a drawing and then real life stuff has to work or look more realistic in the movies. Okay, now with Thor in the comic drawings, we really don't know where that cape is tucked in, and as I said, it's difference between the movies and real life. So real life, it's got to look where it's going to work. Okay, so here we have the movie Thor, and that disc on his chest is where the cape is coming out of. And I think it's the same way with the new Superman movies. They have a little something that the cape comes out of because, as I say, in real life, um, you can't do what the comics do. You have to make it look believable. Okay, so here's a Robin drawing, and just like Batman, if you look at his center of his neck, you see his cape is connected. So anytime that he dropped his hands, that cape would cover his body, which you kind of see in the next picture of this little kid that dressed up like Robin. All right, in this picture, you see what I'm saying, that the right shoulder would be the right shoulder. Once you drop your arms, because your cape is connected, it's going to fall and cover your in front of your body unless you throw it back and kind of have to fold it over. And lastly, we have Shazam. It's a toy, but you can see where the cape connects at behind those two discs, which would also leave an opening right behind the neck. And we talk about that during the drawing, which I'm not going to say it's good or bad, but it depends on your type of character and what you want to do with it. And here we have the old school Shazam, and you can see that the cape was held together by a rope around his neck, which would not really work well for flying. Yeah, Yeah, that wouldn't work, and that's exactly why they changed it in the movie, because that cape had to be held on by something. All right, so there are basically two different ways that you can put a cape around somebody. You can put it completely around the person like Batman, or you can have it just hanging from the sides like Superman. And well, I guess you can have the whole thing sewn on like Omni-Man. Let me give you a quick example with this cloth. I don't want to know, I want to call it fiber optic. It's a fiber, some kind of fiber. I fiber, every time I try to say what this cloth is, a fiber optic comes out of my microfiber. Thank you. So the one thing is, I zoomed in specifically because another one of my students said that, can I zoom in, because he has trouble seeing, because I draw small, and the reason for that is I want to keep the paper on in camera focus the whole time. So if I zoom too closely in and I push my paper off to draw, then you won't see it. So let me zoom back a little bit and then zoom back up. All right, so here we have the microfiber. I got it this time. It's cloth. The thing about the cape is, when the cape pulls, when it pulls from one spot, well, let's do this first. I don't know why I'm turning that. It's all the same size. When a cape folds, it's going to scrunch together. I want you to take a look at your curtains. This is basically how a cape is going to, when it's sitting, when it's just sitting, and you're going to get this pattern at the bottom. You're going to get that crazy pattern, up and down type of pattern at the bottom. When it is worn in different ways, you're going to get different results. Let me show you, and I'll get back with the cloth in a second. Let's get, since I've used pencil, let's do red. There's two ways to wear the cape. There's a bunch of different ways, but there's two main ways to wear it. You can have it come over the shoulder somehow, and it could be stitched into the costume, or it could be, let's say, a metal piece or something, and it could be right there. It doesn't have to be metal, it could be just a piece. The Superman movies, I think they do that, whereas the show, he has the comic book, he had an open neck like that, and then it was tucked down and sewn into it. But for this case, I'm going to say there's going to be a little piece right here, because that makes it a little easier, just like Thor and the circle. He had the circle here, and the cape was tucked into it. And of course, it's going to be bunched up right there, like that, when you have it around your neck. Now, the thing about that is, when you put something around your neck, let's see if I can do this with my fist. If it's like this, and it is sewn here and sewn there together, you're going to have this open piece right there that is going to catch wind. So when drawing that, you're going to have to take into account for that. A lot of artists kind of just like overlook that and draw it, but it's just what's going to happen. So if you have these two pieces, let's see if it works. These two pieces sewn in, shall we say, and you're pulling, it's not going to work because I need to be pulling from both ways. You're going to have, it's going to be, it can be done, but I can't do it on this cloth. It's too small, and I need actually two things. You're going to have like this pattern around the back of your neck, like this sloping, the U shape around the back of your neck, and then the rest is going to take over. Let's see if I fold this thing up. I never thought about that. Fold it up into a shape of a cape shape. You're going to have this shape because the air is going to get up under here, and then the rest of it is going to kind of bunch, especially if you're standing still. It's going to kind of bunch up like that. Now, when you're flying, it's going to flare open every which way, but when you're standing or walking, it's going to be like that. But you're going to have this under there. Now, a thing like with Batman, who has, his is like this. he has the mask, comes all the way down, and then the cape is part of the mask. So what you will see is like a fold right here, because all the I'm gonna say pull lines, tension lines will come from this point right here, where the tension lines come from these 2 points here. He has his folded because realistically, his cape is going to come straight down like that. Come over this arm, and it's going to go straight down like that, which I like when the artists draw that, because that's just realistically how it's going to be. And you saw that with the kid who dressed up like Robin. And at this point, I have not edited yet, so I hadn't put the pictures in, but I looked at the pictures, but right now I don't remember the other black and white Batman. It's going to be like that. So he would be, if I can draw a small Batman. He would look like that. His cape would look like that on him. And like I say, I like that style. If you ever seen the Batman cartoon, they always did that with him, because he stands there, and the thing is, you don't know, he's got that utility belt underneath everything. So standing like that, you don't know what he's grabbing, what he's about to, throw at you, because in the cartoon, he always, during his action, he always took the cape and threw it up. So it would go up when he ran, and then he had, whatever gadget or just running or whatever. And I like that. And that was to me, that was a good thing. But this is how Batman's cape would definitely be. But you have to have that fold on it, because you're folding this part up. Or even if you threw your arm up, which would never work because you have all this heavy material. So a lot of times in the comic books now, they have it folded up. I don't think anybody really draws it with the cape down like this. Maybe 1 or 2 panels, if that. But most of the time, it's up, because I guess people want to draw the muscles. All right, so Captain Marvel, totally different. Totally different. He had the rope that went around, and I think it was it 2? Like I say, I have to go back and look at the example. I just looked at it. He had the rope, and they had the 2, I don't know, emblems, and then from there the cape was there. But that wouldn't work, because anytime you shift or fly, this is going to spin around if this is not sewn to his costume. And I want to say the earlier one, the original one, he only had 1. And then the cape was like always to the side, but that's like the original one. So something from the side, you have your shoulder, you have you have your traps, you have your shoulder blade here, and then your arm is here. So you're gonna have a little bit of shoulder blade. You're going to have red, Brian, red. You're gonna have this here on your shoulder blade, and then you're gonna have the cape go over. And then it's going to go around. I'm exaggerating here. Go around there, and then down, because this is always going to be seen, because it's going to go over. This is going to be high, so your cape is going to actually stop right there. And then you're going to have your wrinkles here, and then your drape right there. But with this one, it's more, like I said, it's more, you'd have to fold it, because if his costume came down, the cowl came down, and the cape, like I say, it should come all the way down. It should just fall down. But if it's back here with all this extra material on the side, you're going to have to fold it somehow. And then you'll have the rest, and then that part will just come up the neck. All right, I said I was going to zoom in so that this particular person can actually see this, but I'm so zoomed out, it's just ridiculous. I forgot about this. I was doing that for this, and I forgot to zoom it back in. So bring this back like this, like more of a cape. So if you ever look at a flag does just not do just this. A flag will twist and it will turn. And I had designed a character who had a cape, and that was my goal, to just not have his cape, you know, just out like that. Every panel, it was going to be either going to be twisted or doing something like a cape is supposed to be, or any material in flapping in the wind was supposed to be. So that's something to remember. You could get a lighter material and then just do some stuff with it, just to see, you know, how it could land, as in, like if he's flying or something like that. It wouldn't always be just open, unless it was short, like Robin's cape, or unless the material was like really thick. But if it's a thinner material, it's going to do its thing. All right, so let's zoom back in and continue with some drawing. All right, I am like way in there, so hopefully I won't get it out of camera focus. I'm thinking about inking some of this, but hopefully you can see this in red. Let's just do a quick ink, kind of remind myself to keep it in focus. And see, when I draw, I don't draw straight up and down. I can't do that. I can't even write like that. I have to twist my paper. Even when I'm writing, I twist my paper. So you'll have something like this, because where it's hooked up in here, it's going to pull. It's going to be pulling. Let me give you an example on the corner. I'm not going to zoom out. It's going to pull. You're going to pull. It's any fabric. Get off. It's going to pull like that, and you have those lines. I don't know, compressed lines, or not wrinkle lines, but they compress when you pull it. The harder something pulls, or so the faster somebody flies, the more it's going to pull. So if it's pulling right here and it's pulling right here at the same time, you're going to have this in the middle, you know, and that's going to catch air, which is not really good. So I'm going to say the same thing with Thor. Thor had the little badge. And comics and movies differ, because you can't do a lot of stuff in the movies that you do with the comics. Especially when it comes with costume design. And like I said, this guy has two, and it's on that little rope, and then it goes around, and his hangs down. His really hangs down at the back. I mean, like down, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, you got the bats. You got to fold it, but you're going to have a lot of wrinkle in between. And going down, same thing here. All right, so every now, I mean, I have like just rough sketches just all over the place that I don't throw away until maybe like a week later, 2 weeks later. This is stuff that's never really finished. It's just me playing around. A lot of times I look for positions I could use, or I could show you, I could teach, or whatever, or just practicing to keep my hands sharp. So I'm just going to use these, and I'm going to put a cape on all of these guys. I have not seen my blue pencil in a minute. I don't know if it fell or is amongst the junk. So anyway, I'm not going to look too hard. I'm going to use regular pencil. I don't want to use marker because, yeah, I don't want to use marker. So, for instance, as I say, if your character's in a room and he's standing still, then I would have just the static going down cape. Let's just say this guy. And you can hook your cape anywhere you want to. You can be creative about it. Let's just say this, one there and one here. All too often we do the same old status quo type of costumes. We should be different. Should be different. Like I say, if he's in a room, and depends on the length of the cape. If it's like short, you're not going to get too many compressed lines. But if it's long, gravity will take over and give it that compressed line look. And you're always going to have, depending on the material, if you got the more material you have, the more I can't do this because the camera's above. The more material you have, the greater the chances of it bunching up like this. But see, if I just hang this down, which you can't see, it's going to stay open like that. But it's always good. So if you do that, just give a little bit of the indication. My desk is junky. Of it being a lot of material and it's together. You can take the lines all the way up, but sometimes that takes away from your drawing. Let's say this guy. Yeah, I'm going to give him a medium to short cape. Okay, let's do the pointers right here. It's all right there. So say the wind is blowing. It doesn't have a cowl, just the wind is blowing. Put that right over his arm. And then your pull lines. The back of it. And the front of it, curving down like this. Couple pull lines. And let's say this guy is like falling. So if he had a cape, if he was falling, would either. I'm looking for a character. One of my cats. I'll use this guy because he's just easy to grab. I tried to get the big guy, but I couldn't really pull him off of his stand. So you're falling. Let's see if I can position this guy. You're falling. Doesn't have to be perfect, Brian. He's falling back. Now that cape on him is either going to be coming up. Do sideways. It's either going to be coming up. Show him coming up over his head because he's falling. You can see that. You can't because it's too close. This is why I don't zoom in. It's going to be coming up over his head, or he's going to be blanketed in that cape because he's falling. Or jumping back. So it would be more, it's going to, anytime that if the wind is blowing or you're moving back rapidly, that cape is going to be, it's going to take the same shape as your back. Let's say it's here, it's going to go around his arm and it's going to come up here. So it's going to cover a lot of your drawing. Of course, it depends on, let's do it this way, it depends on how much material he has. And it's going to go over that leg, and it's going to be tight along here and there. Same thing for here, it's going to go back along there. And since the arms are out, there's a lot of glare in this. You're not going to see that side because you got one arm. How's that arm? The arm is like here. The other arm, there's that other arm right over here. So yeah, you're going to have all this and you're not going to see any of that. which is good because you can save time for drawing, save time on drawing. But you see how it's pressed against that body? How did I have that? And you can have your lines, of course. Like so, and then this, you can put lines in here, or you can make it darker depending on what type of material or how thick the material you have. And then something like this, I don't know, just since I have it this way, I don't know what this was. I was gonna say, a lot of times I just sketch, and hopefully I kept that on camera focus. Whatever, just put his foot right there. Whatever he's doing, he's backing up, I guess. So again, you'd have that cape. Oh, let's go back to this one. I'll make it short. It's going to be coming up over his head. Forgot about that one. If he's falling forward or falling backwards. So this, let's just say like the Batman type. It's going to be there, and since that leg is up, it's going to go, it could drape down and then down here. And again, it's going to, if his arm is back, it's going to do something like that, and you're going to have your, what do I call it, compression lines. This will be the front. Let's not go too crazy. And this side will go over. You have this little turned in piece, and then your lines. And these lines are just like I said, when something pulls, when it pulls, I'm not gonna be able to do that because it's just gonna pull a little bit. It's just your fabric coming together like this. A lot of artists will say if you do, that's what I have under here. Like I said, I got just a lot of drawings. If you do, so here's your point where your fabric is. If you just do something like that, and then you take the peaks, the top of your fabric, and you do like that, then you have, your cape flying. Just any kind of squiggly, line will do. But it has to be like at the top, like that. And for me, as I say, if it flows, it should have some curve to it. If the person is turning, just add some flow to it just to make it look better. This one, since I got it, let's just play around with it. I mean, I've already covered everything that you would need to know about capes. Let's just say he's got a long cape on. Let's put his cape right here. It goes down, hits the ground, hits the ground. It's going to curve like that. You're going to have these lines because some people draw Batman with that long cape. It's going to hit the ground and curve like this, and then just trail off, and then come back up. And then sometimes you can have the extra trail off. But I mean, remember that ground is flat, so it's gonna hit that flat part of the ground. It's gonna stay on that flat part of the ground. It's not gonna go down here. It's gonna stay on that part of the ground that's flat. And then the same thing, let's just say the wind is blowing with her. I'm just gonna cut through him. And then maybe some of it is, I can have it like this, and it just comes around her back like that. This is one side, this is the other side, and it could be like that, like it's blowing in the wind. Of course, you can have your lines, or you can have, again, this piece. Yeah, let's say here. Well, let's just, if it's not going to be wrinkled. But it's got to take the shape of whatever's behind it. And then the rest can be, if it's on her shoulders, it's going around her back, and the rest could be like that. And this has got to go around her back and connect here. Boob, shoulder, arm, fist. The arm is going to be right here, and of course all this is going to be shadow because it's, unless the light is hitting this way. So I think that's going to be it for capes. As I say, when you look at other people's designs, look at how their cape fits. It was Robin had the thing, and then his cape came from under his collar, if I'm getting it right. If I'm getting it right. Yeah, just, it all depends on how you put your cape on your character. That's going to determine a lot, especially for the pull lines. I know realistically there's another name for that, compression lines or stretch lines or something, but yeah, I'm not a fabric maker. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I am putting action pose drawing, quick draws, I call them. I'm putting them up like in the middle of the week. I'm just doing them to, like I say, keep myself in practice, and then I'll put them up. And this is for those who are more, advanced, shall we say. You don't need to hear me say, okay, draw the center line, draw the chest line, draw this, draw the mountain, draw that. But it's the same purpose. It's just quicker, so you guys can just draw along. If you are into that, or if you are still the beginner, then look at the ones every Monday at 12. If I'm not late, got another one coming up. No, this one's up. This is the Monday one. So what am I saying? Yeah, I like to ramble at the end of my videos. So anyway, keep me from rambling anymore. I'm giving these drawings away. I'm giving my drawings away. If you are part of my Patreon family, all the drawings that I do, and these are coming up soon, that I do or have done, are being given away, and I'm reaching into, my stockpile. This is Patreon right there, so you have to be a member to see that one. I'm going to my stockpile of drawings, and I'm giving away a free drawing for everybody that joins. I think it's tier 3 in the Patreon, signed, of course, original art, so you can show your friends, hey, look at this video. This is the art I have. This is the one I have. So yeah, bragging rights. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. Let's turn this up. Get another last look at that. And I will see you guys in the next video.